blog. Today I will just say some few words concerning this R.KELLY issue. I'm one of those that came out to fight against the attack on R.KELLY, and I believe it to be a setup, whether it's consisted of my melanin race accusing him also or any other race. But the fact still remains that I do believe it is a setup. But there's setup that you don't deserve, and there's setup that you've been dining with. You see, those of you that unfortunately you've sold your soul to Satan. Satan loves nobody. Satan wants nobody. Satan is not interested in anybody's peace of mind. Those of you that have sold your soul to Satan for the sole purpose of fame, this is actually the result of your soul being sold to the enemy. R.KELLY, I believe, like so many of you, allegedly exchanged something for his fame. And that's why you see, now there's accusation, he doesn't have right to his music, he doesn't have right to this, he doesn't have right to that. And he's not fighting anybody, he's not fighting that they cheated him, they took advantage of his ignorance and his illiteracy and all those kind of things. We're not hearing anything about that. And of course, I would also make mention of the fact that he is almost boggled. Actually, a moving truck came to his home and flushed out everything he had in his home. And he said he knows the people that did it, he knows what, but nothing concrete came out of it. Let me tell you something, those of you selling your soul, you see, you're doing yourself more of destruction than good, because it's just wealth accumulated that will be taken from you when Satan wants it back. You see, the melanin race is a very strong race. Of course, those of you that have followed my blog this far, you know that I'm against the gang stalking program, the racist system, and the abuse on the human race. The melanin race is a peculiar race. It's a peculiar race, very blessed race filled with talent and all whatnot. But the truth of the matter is that we have actually allowed ourselves to be pushed into a position of vulnerability, and that's why it's easier. You see, when the albinoid race, for example, sells their soul, they do it willfully because it's part of, it's hereditary, it's in the family, they are, bunch of sect or occult or fraternity and all these kind of things. But when the melanin people sell their soul, they're selling their soul mostly out of desperation. But one thing I want you to know, whether desperate or not, for example, I lived in a villa of 150 meters square. They started attacking my home. They attacked my properties by stealing my properties. I have 3 court cases concerning theft of my properties in different locations. And they attack all kind of things. I didn't sell my soul, so let me just make that to be clear. Those are things I worked hard for to get in life, and I built a very beautiful home for myself, with modern technology and all whatnot inside. But they still came for me because melanin are not meant to be reached, except the albinoid benefits from it. R.KELLY, the albinoid benefited from him so much because all those beautiful songs we hear him sing and we think whatever, he doesn't have any right to one of them. Maybe it's the price he has to pay. There are people that you say, okay, you sing all these beautiful songs, you make millions, but you will not have a right to it. They give them all kind of, Satan gives them all kind of condition. Out of desperation, most of these people, they accept, okay, but one thing Satan usually do, because he knows human being, when they're desperate they do anything, but later when they kind of have what they're looking for, like the wealth and all this kind of thing, they begin to backslide and say, well, I think I'm giving too much for this wealth, how can I be killing somebody, or how can I be sleeping with kids, or how can I be doing this? They begin to have a change of mind after they've gotten what they want. But unfortunately, Satan outsmarts them most of the time, which means that R. Kelly, they might purposefully, like some of these girls, like this uh, um, a kind of sexual act. I've forgotten what it's called, but it's a type that they kind of, roughly sexually molest them, and maybe several man on a woman at the same time, and vomit and all kind of things. I don't know what it's called. It's called a particular thing. I don't know what it's called. I've forgotten what it's called again. But if you go to my website, www.melaninandhalbinoid.com, I listed about 15 kind of sexual sexual act that is against the human race, and maybe you can find what I'm trying to explain here. It's about 2 a.m. now, so I couldn't just wait till tomorrow because I have things to do tomorrow. I had to do this video tonight because I was so troubled by it. I mean, troubled in the sense that I wouldn't use the word upset. I'm not troubled, but I'm not so much happy about the fact that the black continue to fall for the same trap. It's actually this period of Kelly. You see, it was on a national level. We all fought against it, leave R. Kelly alone and all whatnot. And if R. Kelly was actually smart, as he has the, if he was actually smart, what would have happened is that he would have like kept away from trouble. He would have at least step aside from anything that would drag any kind of attack that can set him up again. But it's just still living life and still being around the young girls and not trying to make any amends or whatever. You see, R. Kelly, we have been led to believe is not an educated person, and because he's not an educated person, it is not bright. He looks fine, he looks okay. When you see him as a man, you think he's but he's not a bright person. Everything he's doing is being orchestrated. The sleeping of women, the cult, it's just like building a black version of Efna's mansion. That was actually what they were trying to, but these are things, when they join the secret society and they sell their soul, these are things that you have to choose something, a destructive pattern, like you'll be sleeping with young children, or you'll be taking part in a group sexual act. Even, what's Jackie Kennedy's interview, the 8-hour interview. She said something about even your all-powerful Nobel laureate winner Martin Luther King was also involved in group sex. You know, she said it allegedly. She said it in a 8-hour videos. Jackie Kennedy said it in an 8-hour video that should be played and released to the public after she was dead. That no consequences will come out of it, because if it was released while she was alive, maybe they would try to kill her. But when she's gone, they can release it. Nothing happens to anybody, but the truth is out. But I don't see the reason why she should leave such a thing if it's a lie, but so that it will be hard when she's dead. But she knew so much, and she wanted the world to know the truth, at least from her own perspective and what she has witnessed. The same thing with R. Kelly here. You see, why I said this will be my last video on R. Kelly, except there's any drastic change in all these things happening. I don't want to be part of this situation any longer, in the sense that, you see, I supported him before. I was aware he sold his soul, but I saw the God in him, in the sense that it's somebody that has been chosen for greatness, to do great things on this earth, just like Michael Jackson. But Satan crossed their path, violated them, exposed them to Satanism, and because of that, the divine mission was aborted and sabotaged. And I saw this. That was why I was so much sorry, and I wanted it to be the situation, an attack against him. It's not about justice. It's not, just forget it. It's not about, even till today, I still repeat it. The attack on R. Kelly is not about justice. It's about Satanism. He sold his soul to Satan. All the things you see him do with women, there are people that organize those women for him, and he must do it because they always set them up with something destructive they can use against them if they step out of line. Most of these singers, female singers, and all these kind of things that we hear, all these kind of ladies we hear about every day, we see your so-called stars. There are things they have actually done or probably still doing that is holding them captive. That's why when they're dealing with somebody and they don't want all your so-called stars to get involved, they don't involve. They bond themselves, they boof themselves. Why? Because if they involve, their own can of worms also will be exposed. You'll be surprised probably what Beyonce is doing behind closed door, what Rihanna is doing behind closed door, what all these people are doing behind closed door. When you mention all those people, you'll be surprised all those people what they're doing behind closed door. But it is the agreement they made with Satan. Unfortunately, I just saw the God in him, and I was involved because I felt, I know it was involved. I mean, selling his soul, of course. I mean, it's a known fact, but I was involved in it because I saw the God in him, and I felt all this chaotic situation was God's way to remove him, out of this situation. Because Michael Jackson never got that opportunity, though he tried so much. He went to different places to try to get himself out of the situation, but he could not achieve that. So basically, I felt if Satan has stolen all his money, they try to destroy him and all this kind of, and he's exposed like this, he got off free. And even the so-called lawyer that has been harassing him, even was attacked also. He was arrested, I believe, and so many things happened. I just felt it was God's way to bring him back home. But you see, when you sell your soul to Satan, Satan has already done things to make you his captive forever. And unfortunately, all the kind of worm of R. Kelly, there are two things that will happen. Satan is going to use it against him if he decides to leave him, to use it against him, and they will jail him. He will end up being in jail or dying in jail. Or if he should agree to, renew his contract, the satanic contract, then you will see him go scot-free again. I don't think he did what everyone is accusing him of doing, but I believe he has actually, participated in not very healthy relationship with women. And also as somebody that has been actually abused also, I know how painful it is. I know the emotional trauma, and that an abused woman goes through. But this is not just a man abusing a single woman. This is something that they stayed with him, probably brainwashed, but not by R. Kelly. R. Kelly is not that bright to brainwash him. This is a secret society thing. This is actually his own. In conclusion, the story of R. Kelly is just like every other melanin: rise and fall, rise and fall. Why? When you sign a contract with Satan and you sell your soul, this is the result. Even those of us that have not sold us our soul to the enemy, of course, is harassing the whole world. But it's more painful to see these dedicated Satan worshippers being crushed by their master, Satan himself. Because when you get initiated, they will trap you with something they can use against you. And what you're seeing with R. Kelly today, I still maintain that is not innocent of all that criminality, but this is a setup by their master, Satan. Remember also Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein also got into trouble because he stepped out of line. Bill Cosby got into trouble because he stepped out of line from goat Lucifer. R.KELLY, of course, definitely may have stepped out of line, and that's why they're using the same thing. They are the one orchestrating the girls, planning all this, because they probably is more interested in melanin women than white women, So they want to set him up with what is interested in. More all these girls to give each of them 50,000 or 100,000 or maybe 200,000. It's nothing compared to this evil system that is actually governing their group of entertainment industry. This is just an example, an example for those of you who have sold your soul, that most of you will finish this way, especially the melanin. You are more vulnerable to be destroyed easily by Satan because he hates the melanin race with a passion. And for the albinoid also, whether you are albinoid or melanin, this is how most of you will end when you sell your soul. You see, my soul is not for sale. I will never ever sell my soul because you see, riches is only God that makes rich and has no sorrow. Even when Satan steals from the righteous, he will pay back sevenfold. But when he takes what belongs to him by his own submissive agents that are supposed to pollute the world with all kind of atrocities and everything, well, can you say you want to have mercy or compassion? Yes, I have compassion on this man because I believe he's a man that was actually created for a big mission here on earth, a divine mission here on earth. But Satan sabotaged him before he even realized himself. Maybe now that he should have realized himself. And that's why I believe they use sex to tie his destiny down, because it was having constant and according to what I read, that sometimes when he's depressed or whatever, when he's having sex and all these things, he gets out of those depression and all those kind of things, or either he's playing for basketball or he's having sex with them. So they use sex to tie down his destiny. Unfortunately, you see, I talked about the STD. If you watch my video on STD, sexually transmitted disease, that's exactly what is happening here, because the incubus and the succubus spirits, which are the sexual spirits, is actually heavily involved in the destruction of this man that should have been a great talent to the upliftment of the kingdom of God. But unfortunately, he has been sabotaged out of his own free will, of course. So that's the reason I'm actually throwing the towel on leave R.KELLY alone. I don't believe he's guilty of everything they've charged him with, but I do believe this is a satanic gang stalking setup, which he willfully joined. It's part of them and is in their hands. The only thing that can get him off the hook, at least a spirit off his hook, at least, because if this is a setup that when he steps out of line, they will deal with him this way. If this is a setup, he will not get off the hook. And now it's the feds. It's the feds that are actually on his case now. It's not a local thing. It's not a state thing. It's the feds that's on his back. On his case right now, and that is actually more difficult to escape. So you see, he who lives by the sword dies by the sword. When you dine with the devil, unfortunately, you've actually dined with your own, you died with something that will destroy your life. Unfortunately, this man that was actually created for a great purpose here on earth has actually sabotaged himself just by one foolish decision to sign his soul for Satan. I will leave you on this right now, and I hope this will be a message for every melanin people. Stay away. Welcome back. Stay away from Satan, and he will stay away from you. God, Jesus is the only true way, the truth, and life. He who enters the path of righteousness will not perish but have everlasting life. So I'll leave you there. Remember that the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Face your fears, elevate your mind, and resist the temptation to panic. And make sure to make God's word the standard for your living. I'm Lady Abimbola for Melanin and Habinoid Life. God bless you.